The controversial Tether coin has released a transparency update. Jack Dorsey and Square have received their BIT license in New York City. The CEO of Circle says every world currency will have a crypto version, and Travis's beard is still growing. EOS, JP Morgan, Paris Hilton, and rapper Akon are all in the news. And what would the crypto space be without a little John McAfee? This time, he's shying away from ICOs because of the SEC threat. We're not fake news. We're just two dudes talking crypto. And this is the Bad News episode number 143 of the Bad Crypto Podcast.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition.
Who's bad?
I'm John McAfee, and I've been on with these badasses on Bad Crypto for the past hour. I'm very happy to leave them, but I will tell you this, they are badasses. Thank you.
Two dudes talking crypto. Two dudes talking crypto. Joel and Travis are just two dudes talking crypto. Oh, yeah.
I'm Satoshi Cronkite, and this is the news.
You saw a fake news.
Yeah. You're fake news.
You're fake news.
You're fake news, Mr. Travis Wright. I'm Joel Comm. That's Travis Wright. And we are not fake. We are real. And we are really going to talk crypto. And you're really listening to the Bad Crypto Podcast.
Thank you for tuning in. We are the podcast for the crypto curious and the crypto serious. And sometimes we're a little delirious. We like to Google things so you don't have to. Right, Mr. Joel Comm?
They don't really tune in. I mean, like in the, days of radio, you'd have to adjust the dial to get to the frequency. But with podcasts, you just push the button. You just tap it.
Yeah. I saw a really insightful thing on LinkedIn about podcast. And it's like, if you get them to press the button to start playing, you want to make sure they don't press the button and stop playing. So don't be boring and stupid.
Well, I think we've been guilty of both, but I think, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but that might be the reason that you listen to us, because you prefer boring and stupid to dry and intelligent.
I don't know that either one of us are boring, Mr. Joel Comm.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that we're not.
But we are self-deprecating, and we are glad to have our sponsor, New Alchemy, joining us here as sponsor on the show. We're not financial advisors, but we know people who are serious about advising people in the blockchain space, and New Alchemy is one of them. They give truly expert advice about ICOs and access to a range of blockchain development services. They develop ICOs for their clients. They provide them with end-to-end ICO services, which include business strategy, smart contract development, project management, token design, and marketing services. They've led blockchain innovation for more than 7 years now. That's a long time in the blockchain space, and have enabled $2.7 billion worth of tokenization projects. For more information, visit our friends at newalchemy.io.
That's a lot, Mr. Joel Comm. 2.7 billion.
Yeah. We got some podcast news for those of you that enjoy listening to us on your Android device. Bad Crypto and I guess all podcasts are now going to be more accessible to Android users via Google Podcasts.
Yes, that's pretty exciting to know that Google has finally figured out that podcasts are a thing.
They are a thing, and they're a thing that isn't going away. In fact, podcasts, even though they've been around for a dozen or so years now, yet to have real mainstream penetration. But I think that it's definitely picking up, and we're here in the early phases. And if you're listening, that means you are as well.
Yeah, I actually found an article a little earlier on today on Recode that was talking about podcast advertising that last year was $314 million total. So the podcast business is still really teeny tiny. And if you think about all the billions and billions of dollars, there's like $70 billion a year goes into TV, and internet search ads, $23 billion, and internet video ads at about $12 billion. And Hell, Facebook alone does about $40 billion a year in advertising, and podcasts are just such a small amount. What if you're talking about radio? Radio generates about $18 billion a year. So podcasts are gaining more steam over time. And I'm glad that Google finally has their act together and has created its own standalone podcast app, because it was really hard to find it in Google Play, kind of hard to find it in Google Music. They would move it around. And so hopefully you guys can find it on Google Podcasts.
Will they be able to write reviews there is what I want to know.
Are you able to hit 5 stars? You should go check that out.
Yeah, try it and let us know, and make it funny. And if it's a funny 5-star review, we'll do like we're about to hear and read you a couple that have just come in. One is called Crypto Goes Up. And I'm going to read this because it's, this is the name the guy used, but it's by Hans Scrotum.
I think that's his real name.
I'm Hans Scrotum. He says they'll guide you through the primordial sludge that are these early days of crypto. Even though these cryptozoologists lack some objectivity when it comes criticizing all media types, probs the two most smartest peeps you'll find at a MAGA rally. Their banter and lighthearted dialogue makes for an easy listen when en route to work. That being said, as long as you're not soft-serve ice cream on a sugar-free cone when it comes to differences in politics, these gentlemen birds are well worth taking a gander. We're birds. And I don't know that, we don't really get, majorly political on this show.
Yeah, I've never been to a MAGA rally.
You don't own a MAGA hat?
I do not. I did play Mega Man on Nintendo.
You're mega awesome. What's the other review here say?
All right, you can't make this stuff up by Market Fanatic. This one is really long. Refreshingly smoky, like fine whiskey. Travis and the other guy are well rehearsed, funny, and
I must be the other guy.
That must be the one Travis fan out there who left that review. So thank you
to the Bad Crypto Podcast with Travis Wright and the other guy.
Travis White and Juke.
The other guy. So leave your review wherever it is you can, maybe now in Google Podcasts, and make it funny. And if you think we're worth 5 stars, then give it up. And if you don't think we are, then don't. But if you'd like to join us for our birthday celebration, July 18th is the day in Denver, Colorado. Whether you're local in the Colorado area and driving in, or you're flying in, just get a hotel downtown. Still haven't determined exactly where it's going to be, but you can get a free ticket at badco.in/birthday. And we got a funny email, Travis, before we get to the news. This dude, I don't know if he was being serious or not. I think he was.
He was being serious.
I did.
Reply to him?
You were kind.
I was actually going to find it. I was going to find it right now. I was going to read it too. So
we're on the same
kind
page.
of on the same break.
Yeah, this guy, I'm not going to say his name, but his initials may be TD. And he says, I would be interested in attending the 1-year anniversary party in Denver because I live here. My attendance would depend on the venue because of 4 reasons. Number 1, would like to see a cool venue. Number 2, free or discounted food and drink. Number 3, I have a very well-behaved baby who likes to be out and about, would like to bring her and my wife. Neither are interested in crypto. And number 4, I like listening to the Bad Crypto Podcast, but I'm not sure I'd want to intimately hang out with the two of you. A larger crowd would be better. Sorry if number 3 comes off harsh, just my 2 cents. You got to it before I did, and I'm actually surprised. How I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh yeah, to eat something? No, I was going to say that. I was like
a bag of something.
Yeah, I was just like, hey, feel free to not attend, bro. I mean, like, you have a whole lot of contingencies for being a random person who just emailed us.
Right. Don't come, and if you don't want to intimately hang out with the two of us,
I need deliciously discounted snacks. I need an area for my baby. I want this to be a very nice venue or I will not come. And I need there to be other people there besides you guys. Cause you guys I like to listen to your show, but I don't really want to hang out with you guys. So,
So if you want to hang out with us, July 18th in Denver, badco.in/birthday is the information. Tickets are free. Food and drink are on you. If you're going to stay in a hotel, stay in one in downtown Denver. Anywhere is nearby. It's not a big downtown. We hope to see you guys there.
What were you going to email him?
I hadn't, I didn't stop to think about it because I saw your response first. But it probably would have been
Oh.
similar. It probably would have been, hey, no.
Right. Wow. I was like, that's pretty funny. That's a whole lot of demands for like, that's like, I need green M&Ms and
All right, let's get into the news. Here we go. Mr. Travis Wright, it's time for the news.
Yay!
Oh, everybody's excited. Let's get right into it. Beginning in the Big Apple, the great city of New York, where apparently
I was just there earlier
today.
this week. I was there this week. I was there a couple days ago, Mr. Joel Com.
Okay, is the apple still big?
It's pleasantly large.
Is it crunchy?
I did not taste it. I don't know
Okay.
how sanitary it
You
was.
did not take a bite.
Mhm.
Anyhow, news, apart from you having been in the Big Apple and not having licked the sidewalks, apparently Square, Jack Dorsey's company, not Twitter, has received a bit license, which is their crypto state license.
Yes. It's that bogus license that they had to create because you know how they like to regulate everything there in New
Hang
York.
on, everything got robot-y. Say that again, please.
Oh, I love the robotiness.
Mm-hmm.
I go, yeah. It's exciting for them. It's big news. You know how New York likes to regulate everything there on Wall Street. And lots of regulations there on Wall Street. That was one thing about Wall Street they really got me was in 2008, 2009 when we had that big crash, how like all these people were doing all this crazy stuff. Not one person got arrested, right?
Mm-hmm.
For anything. Like literally that tells you pretty much all you need to know about the legal system and the financial system and how well it's tied together. No, they did all that crap and nobody got arrested. However, they got these really big, regulations around crypto. You have to get a crypto, this bit license. And I believe maybe 5 or 6 companies ever have gotten one. Does it say in this article how many have actually received one?
So Square's got the Cash app, and apparently if you are a customer of Square and use the Cash app in New York State, you can now buy and sell Bitcoin instantly in the app because they have the license to Bitcoin.
So exciting. I'm really excited about that.
Good for Jack and good for Square customers.
Crypto did take off a little bit whenever the news popped up. It popped up about 3.5%, but then it went red again because crypto goes up, crypto goes down.
Yeah, it's just been in this sideways movement now. Like, I don't even look at my Blockfolio much these days because there's just nothing's moving. It's all just kind of, up a point, down a point, up a point, down a point. As of this recording, Bitcoin is at 67.39, Ethereum 527, XRP at 53 cents, EOS face some challenges, which we'll talk about this week, $10, Litecoin under $100, Stellar hovering around 23 cents, and everything's just kind of meh, when Lambo, when Moon.
We have no idea.
We don't. The closest we got to a Lambo was driving one in Vegas last week. And by the way,
well, the closest that I got to one was a smart car.
yeah. Now, don't lie, Mr. Travis, right? You did attempt to drive the Lambo.
No, I got in the Lambo. Lambos are you need to be 5'10" or so to drive the Lambo,
That's
I think, and be like about 50 less pounds because it's like a small cockpit engine in there. Now the Ferrari, I could totally drive the Ferrari, the McLaren, no problems. But even sitting in the Lambo, my legs were scrunched because there's just no room and you can't move the seat back any farther. It's like if you're 6 foot, you ain't getting a Lambo.
No Lambo. You can go to the moon, however, because rockets are bigger than Lambos.
Mm-hmm.
But you cannot drive the Lambo on the moon.
No, unless it's one of those Lambo tractors.
Right, then you could. So here's news about Tether. Tether has been questionable for some time because there's doubts that every dollar of USDT token is indeed backed by a dollar in the bank. And Tether has a $2.5 billion market cap. But this story on CCN says that they have released a transparency update. It indicates that its token is fully backed by physical dollars that are deposited into separate banks.
Yeah, the report was a product of free Sporkin and Sullivan. Free Sporkin. That was kind of what they did in the Summer of Love back in 1969. Free Sporkin.
And the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe. Yeah.
Yeah. I always like this, like, yeah, we've done a report and we've reviewed ourselves and we found ourselves to be free of any crime.
Right.
That's kind of what happens in the government.
Well,
But apparently this is a real legal firm founded by 3 former federal judges, including a former FBI director, which I don't know how much weight that carries anymore.
Well,
but
it's not a formal audit, though. Apparently, the legal firm was given access to the bank accounts as well as to employees at the 2 unnamed banks. So this isn't an official audit. It's an unofficial audit, maybe.
Yeah, we've reviewed ourselves and we found ourselves to be compliant. Yeah. This is good. Yeah, I'm free of any crimes. I didn't do any crimes today, according to me.
I smelled my own breath and no problem. So there's that. EOS, of course, the mainnet is live. And this article also on ccn.com, which all of these articles are linked in the show notes at badco.in/143. This headline says EOS faces constitutional crisis over frozen accounts. I guess there was an issue. There was like a hack or something, but they had to freeze accounts for a little bit on June 17th.
Yeah, so apparently there were some stolen funds that some thieves had scammed some users through phishing attacks or whatever, and they said they don't like that, and so I guess they gave the money back to the original people, which is great to do. However, if you are going back and kind of changing your constitution and being able to freeze accounts and do stuff, just willy-nilly on your own, that's not really central. That's not really decentralized. And this is very similar to, what happened with Ethereum, how they had to create that hard fork with that DAO hack back in 2016, which created, Ethereum Classic and Ethereum as we know it today. So kind of interesting whenever they basically have their constitution, and Article 9 says this: all disputes arising out of or in connection with this constitution shall be finally settled under the rules of arbitration of the International Chambers of Commerce by one or more arbitrators appointed in accordance with the said rules. And so apparently these arbitrators. I'm having word issues.
One of them, they're arbitrators.
You could do them arbitrage and arbitrator. And so, yeah, there's some challenges happen like that. It's very similar to what was going on with Ethereum. And that created a problem. I think a bigger problem is like whenever they froze all of the tokens on the Ethereum blockchain, and how many people don't have access to their EOS that are basically just blocked out of them now. There's been all kinds of snafus that's been happening with this EOS mainnet launch. It has gone far from smoothly, and it's created a problem after problem. And the price of the coin is showing that. It's sitting at around $10 right now from its high of around 24. So hindsight being 2020, it would have been nice to get out of all your EOS at about 24.
Hindsight being 2020, you could have sold everything on January 17th, and you would have sold at the all-time high. Sometimes I feel like we could do this news show just by going to one of these crypto news sites and just picking out articles. We actually do a little planning on these, but I'm going to go down a couple rabbit holes, Mr. Travis Wright. In fact, if you look at the show notes, I just saw 2 articles on CCN, which, by the way, is rapidly becoming my favorite site for news. I use CoinDesk, I use Cointelegraph, but CCN seems to offer up stories that I don't see elsewhere. And this one here, a case just went before the Supreme Court, and for the first time, Bitcoin was mentioned in a Supreme Court decision, not about Bitcoin in particular. It had to do about employee stock options being representing taxable compensation or so. But this was actually written in this decision today, that Bitcoin was mentioned in the decision written by Chief Justice Breyer. Actually, the dissenting opinion by Justice Breyer.
So more and more, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are entering the mainstream right? And people are talking about it. They're giving it more validity, and we're seeing it every week. New organizations, new regulators, new people talking about it. It's sort of taken on a life of its own. So people who are saying, "Oh, it's a bubble," blah blah blah, right? Right now, it's a downturn. The prices are a lot lower right now, but that doesn't mean we're down and out in crypto land. I mean, I think we've only just begun.
Down and out in crypto land. Check out this other story that I found here, which I think is really interesting for travelers, especially those flying through Amsterdam's International Airport, Schiphol, I don't know, whatever it is. They're installing a Bitcoin ATM there that allows people to convert their euros into Bitcoin or Ethereum at the airport, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty handy. Well, I mean, that is pretty handy. However, that's an international airport. People are flying in from all over the world. Why just limit it to euros?
Well, I think what they're looking for, it's in the departure terminal, and it's supposed to be for outbound travelers and basically for those who won't be using euros in their own country, right?
Oh, that is really smart, because I don't know how many times I'm leaving a different country and I'm like, great, I have 72 of these dollars here. What am I going to do with these? I know I'll give some to my kids. And so my kids have some different dollars from all over the world, but it would be really handy. Like every time I use Robinhood, like if I pull money into Robinhood and then I buy some stock or something and I have like $30 left over, then I just use the remainder of that to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah, right? we talk about crypto dust, but we've had fiat dust. We get change. We throw it in a change jar. You have some euros you're not going to spend in your own country. That's fiat dust. And so now you can convert your cash dust into crypto. I think this is a great idea.
I am not opposed to it at all, Mr. Joel Com. In fact, I have some of this worthless U.S. fiat. I have like 7 random dollars that I would like to get rid of. I guess I could go to the store.
Dust it.
Fiat dust. So, also in the news, Circle's CEO has said that every world currency will soon have a digital version. All fiat currency will be crypto, is what Jeremy Allaire, he said in no uncertain terms. Digital currencies, regular fiat currencies, it's going to be the same.
He's not alone. Again, as I was perusing the story on CCN, the Goldman Sachs CEO says it's arrogant to think cryptocurrency won't be successful. I mean, the writing is on the wall. You know it. I know it, and now the leaders in the financial spaces know it. And so I don't know what it would take for all of this to completely crumble and not explode.
Well, and we're noticing there's a lot more of these fiat-pegged stable coins popping up, right? We've had those stable coin conversations before. We had just one on just the other day, right? And then also True USD is doing one, Tether's doing one. Haven is doing one, right? So these stable coins are popping up, and that's kind of what these digital currencies that are going to be pegged to these fiat currencies are going to do, right? They're going to be this stable coin type of a thing, and that's useful because like when the market's going down, like sometimes they're like, oh man, you can tell Bitcoin's about to crash. Here it is, it's going down. Well, how about pull it over into a stable coin and let it just chill there so Bitcoin can go down, and then you can pull it back into Bitcoin after Bitcoin's gone down. So a lot of times you go, okay, I guess I'll buy some Ethereum, but then they all go down because everything's tied to Bitcoin. So it's really the only safe haven is to have some sort of stable coin.
And there are benchmarks for where, what a stable coin is and the range that it should be playing in. And this story is cracking me up because, we got done talking about Goldman Sachs. And of course, one of the other the big financial institutions of the world is JP Morgan Chase. And this story here, they were busted, dude. They were trying to manipulate the US dollar benchmark. The CTFC, Commodity Futures Trade Commission, slapped a $65 million fine on JP Morgan Chase Bank. And, with Jamie Dimon still as CEO of that company, it does not make me sad at all to see them slapped with fines for shenaniganery.
Yeah, well, I mean, do a Google search for JP Morgan silver price manipulation. And it's basically JP Morgan has this imaginary silver hoard because it's all this paper money, right? And so not only are they manipulating the dollar, they've manipulated gold and silver, and now here they are talking about crypto and giving their opinions on crypto when they have historically manipulated all types of currencies, all types of assets in the past. And it's just unbelievable to me that how are they not fined more? I mean, they're fined little smacks on the wrist. They're not big fines that impact them in any negative way. But what is this one right here?
Somebody said in the comments, and I don't know if this is accurate because the article doesn't state it, but it says their profit was 10 times the fine, because of the manipulation they did. So if that's accurate, then they made $650 million for that manipulation and had to pay a $65 million fine. Poor babies. So 9X.
Let me ask you this, Mrs. Jocom, how often would you pay $65 million to make $650
all day long, every day? But I wouldn't do something illegal to do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying, like, this is crazy. So, like, if the fine was $6.5 billion, right, then they'd think twice about doing this kind of stuff. But the problem is that the profits are normally way bigger than the fine, and so they go, what's the real loss? It's actually a profit center for them.
Mm-hmm. You know who we haven't talked about on the show for a while, and our fans are probably going, when are the bad crypto guys going to talk about Paris Hilton again?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kanye.
Oh, is there news around Kanye?
There's not news around Kanye, but you asked me to guess.
Well, now we just talked about him.
We did. I guess
there you go. This is though Paris Hilton's dad, who's Rick Hilton. I find it interesting that's the headline. Paris Hilton's father to sell 16th century Roman mansion via blockchain auction. Why does it not just say Hilton real estate firm chairman Rick Hilton? Right? Why does it have to have this? I don't know. I just think that's funny. Like that's really link bait. Like to put Paris Hilton's name in the title.
Well, the Hilton family has been very successful for the longest time, right? Through Paris's grandpa or whatever his name was, Conrad Hilton or something. Yeah. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I think that's what it is. And so they have all this real estate, all these hotels, right? And then they have these granddaughters who are these reality celebrities. And, Paris Hilton, very popular for her TV show and her sex tape. And actually, last time we talked about her, I think it was back in September. Whenever she jumped in on this ICO. I think it was like Lydia coin, something like that. Back in here it is. Back in September of 2017, she had talked about looking forward to joining the Lydian coin thing, and I don't believe that she actually said that was sponsored or whatever. So that was right after Floyd Mayweather had done his I'm going to make a ton of money with the stocks ICO, and how he was pimping all those. And notice how all these companies have, how all these celebrities have sort of toned down on that.
Yeah, they backed off. By the way, it was Conrad Hilton, and I don't know, you probably didn't watch the show Mad Men, but if you are going to watch anything, it's such a great advertising marketing show with Don Draper. They actually fictionalized Conrad Hilton, and in a couple seasons of the show, he works with this fictionalized version of Conrad Hilton on their hotel chain campaigns. And so those of you,
was it Hilton, or was it like something?
No, it was Conrad Hilton. It was they managed to work in some real life brands into the show, which of course was, I think, advertising for Hilton eventually. So anyway, they're auctioning off this old mansion on the blockchain,
and it looks like the company who is doing it is Proppy, the one company that we had. Remember we talked about them way back in the day? That was, I think, one of the first ICOs that we had even mentioned on the show. I think you had mentioned it because you had put an Ethereum towards it or something. And they completed the first ever real estate sale for crypto in Ukraine in 2017, and they are using their blockchain to basically do the sales and set it up on the titles for land and whatnot. So this Roman mansion is going to be auctioned off on the blockchain. And what are they thinking? How much is it worth?
35 million. It's huge. 11 bedrooms and 15 bathrooms. So it'll be interesting to see how this blockchain auction goes. It would certainly, they pull it off. That would be really good for Proppy.
So basically, it's just 5,222 Bitcoin. It's not that big a deal. I mean, if you were mining back in the day, you got that sitting around.
Yeah. Speaking of ICOs, there's this number from News BTC said ICOs raise over $9 billion this year so far, surpassing 2017 figures. So there are some that are saying, ICOs are on the downturn, but the co-founder of CoinSchedule says he still believes in the ICO industry. He says, quote, "The ICO market is still hot. EOS and Telegram have been big successful ICOs this year, albeit not a classic ICO in the sense Telegram was closed to private investors only, and EOS has been trading in exchanges for a while." But he is a believer, and apparently a lot of other people are as well.
And think of this, we're not even halfway over the year, right? That happens in a week. But then also looking at this, I say, well, Telegram was how much and EOS was how much, and then how much was the Venezuelan Petro? So those three right there were $3-4 billion collectively. So, I mean, you take those out of the mix, and then you were sitting at about maybe $6 billion or so that's gone in other ICOs aside from those top three. So, I mean, EOS raised like $4 billion, right?
You are correct, sir.
Telegram raised like 2 point something billion, and I don't know how much the Venezuelan Petro raised, but that's a whole bunch, and that's a whole lot of money. And these ICOs are interesting. That's why we do the ICO spotlight each week, is because we've had now on the show over this year about 150 different ICOs on the show, and most every one of them are doing different things. That to me is what's fascinating. There's so many different applications of blockchain that it seems that it's almost never ending.
And yet we have never recommended that anybody buy a single coin or token. I think that's pretty impressive because we're not financial advisors.
Mm-hmm. And we're not pump and dumpers.
So, hey, the Fed is paying attention to crypto. There's a shocker. This story is surprising, though, that the Federal Reserve branch in St. Louis is adding crypto price indexes to their database, the Federal Reserve Economic Data Database, otherwise known as FRED. They're tracking pricing data for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Bcash, and Litecoin.
Basically, they're just pulling data from Coinbase, essentially.
Yeah, that's what they're doing, but they're paying attention, right? They're keeping track of this, and I think it's the Feds. They're not stupid.
Yeah, and they said that there was a report from the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. They released a report that argued that they believe the true value of Bitcoin is around $1,800, which is roughly the cost of mining one Bitcoin. So that's how they, arrived at that figure. So that's interesting to think about. But you know what? Here's the thing. There's only 21 million of them, and not everybody's going to have one. And if everybody wanted to have some Bitcoin and the supply versus demand, I mean, eventually the price of Bitcoin is going to be astronomical because not everybody can have one and everybody wants one. Unless one of these other cryptos take over as the main crypto that becomes the, crypto reserve currency. But, because everything's pretty much pegged to Bitcoin right now, right? If you look on all those exchanges, that's the way it's set up.
There's no sign of a flippening happen right now. Everything is status quo. There's no other tokens that have momentum that seems likely to overtake Bitcoin. And I don't believe another will. I could be wrong. I don't know. Do you think Icon has a chance to be that one?
Do I think Icon?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, they are gearing up for a token swap. Their 800 million token swap as they're getting ready to prepare for their mainnet launch. Now, this is similar, it seems to me, kind of what EOS has done, where they built they did their ICO on the Ethereum network, and until now, those ICX tokens were distributed through the ICO. They ran on Ethereum as an ERC20 token. And now users have to transfer those to Icon from Ethereum, just as same as you had to do with EOS. Now you guys have until September 25th to execute that token swap, basically through the Icon EX wallet. And those will be starting to be distributed through there. Now, I don't know if like EOS, if you kept them on a certain exchanges, they would do that swap for you. I don't know if Icon is doing that. It does not mention that, but those mainnet transitions, once those blockchain, projects, they're creating their own token, right? But they have it on the ERC, they have it on Ethereum, and you can buy into it with the ICO with your Ethereum and get some of those tokens. But those ERC20 tokens have to be converted over to their native platform. And EOS, I think, did not really, it's almost like, all right, now we're done doing the ICO and immediately you must swap it over. Like they didn't give people any time, and that whole freezing of assets. I mean, who knows how many EOS tokens are just are dead on the vine now.
Yeah, they were left outside to freeze their assets off. So it does say here that Binance and Upbit have confirmed that they will support the token swap for all deposits made up until Wednesday, and that appears to be of next Wednesday. And if you're listening to this in the future, well, figure out what date this broadcast and get your Wednesday straight. McAfee's in the news again, like constantly. But he tweeted that he's not going to recommend ICOs anymore.
Yeah, so remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about him, and it was like John McAfee on the run. He was all like incognito, and he was all clandestine. He was like, oh, the feds, they're following these other two people who look like us now, and now we're 2 states over. And it was just, I mean, McAfee brings drama. One thing you could say about John McAfee is he is not boring. Right.
He's a drama llama. This tweet on June 19th said, due to SEC threats, I am no longer working with ICOs, nor am I recommending them. And those doing ICOs can all look forward to arrest. It is unjust, but it is reality. I'm writing an article on an equivalent alternative to ICOs, which the SEC cannot touch. Please have patience. And, this is a reason from the very beginning that while we have a sponsored show that features ICOs, we're super clear that it's a commercial. It is a promotion, and that we don't recommend them. That we let people know that we're being compensated, because it's just such a new frontier that, we just like to be really clear. And he was super promoting. He was
not clear.
He was not clear.
He did not say that. He did not say this is a sponsored post. I am talking about this crypto coin. Like, not at all. And then it became clear that he was accepting $125,000 a tweet, which is about half as much as we accept. So if you want to send us $250,000 for tweets, we'll 25,000 in bad coin.
Yeah.
No, literally, it's so astronomical, the amount that John McAfee was charging, unbelievable. And I guess people were paying it because, I mean, he would make the pump, and then those coins would go take off, and then you would see it dump shortly thereafter. So that was supremely pump and dump. But apparently the SEC got on him, and not good for Mr. John McAfee, but he's trying to protect his crypto assets as well. And so he has said, hey, I'm not going to do that anymore. We've never made a recommendation on the show. We've said some of the things that we've done, like some of the coins that we've been looking at and checking out, but we've never said you should go out and buy this. We've never gone the Superman route where we're like, go buy this one. Oh my God, this is the best coin you've ever seen. Ah!
Can you say that with a Superman accent, though?
You know what? I've only seen the guy a couple times, and then I was a little nauseous, and so I stopped watching.
I think he's a Brit, so it'd have to be a British accent. So back home in the United States at Stanford University, they are launching a new blockchain research center there on the left coast.
Very cool. Yeah. And Vitalik Buterin, he is actually helping support this initiative as well. Vitalik not giving away ETH Buterin,
right?
Which we have to say that as well, because like what's happening, like every time we would send out a tweet, somebody would create a fake bad crypto account and be like, oh, and make sure to jump into our crypto giveaway where we're giving away Ethereum and blah, blah, blah. And we're not doing that. But it's interesting that Stanford University is launching this new blockchain research center. Silicon Valley is normally on the forefront of this. I'm actually surprised that it's taken them this long to create a blockchain research center, frankly.
Yeah, come on, Silicon Valley. So the center's going to focus on creating blockchain curriculum for students and working professionals. I guess a lot of people, as it makes sense, are interested in having classes like that at U.S. universities and colleges. So hopefully Stanford will be able to create some curriculums to be usified.
Now, I believe there's already that one organization there from, Jingling Wang and Jeremy Gartner. Yeah, so they have the blockchain education network that they'd set up. And so a lot of schools around have that, where sort of like a meetup where people are getting together and communicating and chatting about blockchain. But this is an official Center for Blockchain Research. It's being led by Dan Boneh and David Mazares, that are two professors there that have specialties in blockchain and crypto at Stanford. And so they are going to be basically helping define best practices for blockchain and bringing university scientists and top industry leaders together and talking about the cryptos.
Come together, crypto to the moon.
Speaking of blockchain research and ICOs, Power Ledger, right? Blockchain startup. We had them on the very, very first ICO spotlight back in the day.
It was first? Really?
It was on the very first one. Yeah, we had them on it, and Horizon State, and I think Block RX was on that first one. And so they are bringing Power Ledger, they're bringing some electricity sharing to Silicon Valley. Mr. Joel Comp.
Coming in because they're from the other side of the world. They're from down under.
They're from down under?
Yeah.
From
in fact, they had one of I think the most successful ICO in Australia at that time. And so what are they doing? They're working with Silicon Valley to track renewable energy use of electric vehicles. That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing. And that's pretty fancy. And it is a blockchain technology that tracks energy production, storage, and then allows the token to be able to, buy and sell energy based on your consumption. Because I think a lot of times what happens now is if you have solar panels on your roof, then, it's like, all right, I'm making all this energy during the day and I'm at work. And then you're selling that energy back to the energy network, back to the energy company for maybe 5 cents per watt or whatever the kilowatt or however they're judging that. And then, but then at nighttime when you need it, you got to buy it back for 20 cents. And so the electric company's still making money off of you, even though you're producing all this energy. You're not necessarily storing it all that well, unless you have maybe one of those Tesla batteries in your garage or whatever. And so basically this is that, Power Ledger allows you to buy and sell those credits. That way you don't have that massively bad arbitrage with the electric company. And now they're doing some pretty cool stuff with Silicon Valley. Actually, they're going to be working with Silicon Valley Power, which is the big company there in the West Coast.
Well, good for them. I may or may not be holding a little bit of power. I honestly, I don't recall, and I don't have my portfolio in front of me at the moment. But full disclosure, I may own a token we talk about. I may not. I do have a little bit of this one just because it's a top 10 crypto. And I'm like, it can't hurt to have a few of them in my portfolio. And that's Tron. In the news here, Justin Sun, who's the founder of Tron, has spent $140 million in cash to buy BitTorrent and uTorrent, or just uTorrent?
Well, uTorrent is the platform that BitTorrent. So I don't know if you guys remember way back in the day with Napster, and then also with like Kazaa and LimeWire and all that stuff. Though basically what happened was that those were sort of centralized powers. Once they shut off Napster and shut off those other ones, they shut the whole engine down. Well, Bitcoin is a decentralized sort of an engine. So like if I'm sharing this file and some other people are sharing this file, what they're doing is they're going out and getting little tiny bits from my computer and your computer and other people's computer, and then they're recompiling that file on your computer, right? That's how BitTorrent works. And there's not one, it's not like it's peer-to-peer where you're just connecting to my computer and downloading that file. You're just getting little tiny bits at a time. And Tron, that whole coin, they're trying to do stuff with media and reinventing media and putting media on the blockchain. And basically they had a white paper, right? And then it became worth, like at one point, like $10 billion or $18 billion or something crazy. So they have all this money, and now they're actually using their crypto ICO money and then buying real company like BitTorrent and uTorrent. That's interesting.
And they're not saying why, but reportedly the move is aimed at shielding Tron's technology from allegations of plagiarism. So I'm not sure if that's true or not, but that's what's happening with Tron. And one last story from the entertainment world that is merging into the crypto world. There is a Grammy Award winning singer. His name is Akon, A-K-O-N, Akon.
Yeah, Akon.
Yeah.
Akon.
And I've never heard of the guy, but he wants to build a crypto city in Senegal. That's where he's from. He's a Senegalese American rapper and a solar energy entrepreneur, and he wants to offer crypto to help improve conditions in Africa. Doing good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So the A coin, as it's going to be called, according to the coin's website, this new city, 2,000-acre land gifted by the president of Senegal. And he's going to call this the real life Wakanda, which I don't know if you've seen the movie Black Panther, which I recently saw while flying back from overseas. And really good movie. I was actually pretty blown away by the storyline behind it. A lot of people actually thought that there was a real life Wakanda already in existence, but it was fiction. But very fascinating, the whole story. And so Akon wants to create a real life Wakanda someplace in Africa, there in Senegal. And it's going to be powered by the A coin.
Yeah, super fancy. Well, that's not all the news because there's so much more news. We can go on and on and on, but by now you're probably going, all right, guys, that's enough news for the week.
We haven't been nearly as funny this show. We apologize. Sometimes we're just not hilarious.
But we are going to wrap it. But first, news from World CryptoCon. We have our weekly winner, and this individual has been randomly chosen from our email newsletter list. We send out emails once a week, kind of gives you all the goings on of all the cool interviews and things that are happening. If you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? badco.in/WCC. That stands for World CryptoCon. Of course, World CryptoCon is the major crypto event that will be taking place October 31st through November 2nd in Las Vegas at the Aria Hotel, where we recently shot a promotional spot in a Lambo and in a Ferrari and maybe in a smart car. And every week they're giving away 2 tickets. This week, Scott Bullhack. Scotty of Bullhackery, you are the winner, and you will be getting an email from the World CryptoCon team. You guys should get on the list. badco.in/WCC. And before the event, they are going to give away 1 VIP package for 2 that's going to include airfare, hotel, VIP treatment. Get on the list. Do it. Do it now. Thanks so much for joining us for the Bad Crypto Podcast. Can't believe that we are coming up on 1 year. And if you add together the number of regular episodes, unnumbered episodes, which include like quickies and stuff like that, there's probably been 10 to a dozen of those, and the Crypto Spotlight /ICO Spotlight episodes, of which there's 34, we're coming up on 200 episodes in our first year.
That is insane. Like that is an insane amount of content. That is like one. That's more than one every other day.
Like if this was a marriage, there's no way that we'd be able to still be together. I mean, how are we not totally sick of each other? I'm just a little sick of you.
Well, that's great. I'm not really sick of you at all. Like we still crack each other up like regularly. Like episode 141, the Talking Tokens episode, like that was hilarious. Like we're getting funnier. Like that's what it seems like. It's like we haven't even reached our prime yet, which is great.
No, we're still like in crypto puberty here.
Pre-crypto puberty.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget to follow, subscribe, share the Crypto Love. We'll catch you guys next time. Until then, stay bad.
Stay bad.
Who's bad?
The Bad Crypto Podcast is a production of Bad Crypto LLC. The content of the show, the videos, and the website is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, or trading advice of any kind. You shouldn't make any decisions as to finances, investing, trading, or anything else based on this information without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional financial advisor. Please understand that the trading of Bitcoins and alternative cryptocurrencies have potential risks involved. Anyone wishing to invest in any of the currencies or tokens mentioned on this podcast should first seek their own independent professional financial advisor.